guys, Melzjelly here. Welcome back to another video. This one's really important. I'm going to be talking about how I moved to Japan and how you can too. I'm going to record it all in one go, so hopefully I don't do a lot of crazy edits. But if you're watching this, I'm going to go over the different programs that you can be applying to. Applications just opened up for some of these programs, so you need to start now. And then I have 3 questions I'm going to go over first that I got on Instagram. So let's get started. To answer the easiest question, how did I get to Japan? One of the most popular jobs that most people do when they first go to Japan is to work as an ALT or assistant language teacher. And there are actually different programs that offer this opportunity, and I'm going to go over some of these and how you can apply to them. I got 3 questions on Instagram. I asked people what they wanted to know about working in Japan and how I did it. One of my friends said everything ever, so I'm gonna try to cover everything. If there's something I don't cover, please leave it down in the comments down below or follow me on Instagram at Melzjelly. I will be having more poll questions open up so I can talk about different topics here on my YouTube channel. So go follow me there and make sure you're, making sure you're watching out for those polls. One of my other friends was, what did you do there? Just curious. Like I said, I was an assistant language teacher. So I wasn't the main teacher. I was there with a main teacher and I was there assisting because the English level is not so high. So you're there kind of just as reinforcement. And then somebody else asked me, how did you find it? So I didn't really find the job. I applied for it. Also, quick shout out to my Hello Kitty Bruno Mars t-shirt that I got at Don Quixote. I think it's really cool. So all right, let's get started. Let's see. So I'm sure you can accomplish your dream to move to Japan because there is more than one way to do it. The easiest way to do it that most people use is through different ALT programs where you do need your bachelor's, you need letters of recommendation, your certificate, usually a background check, and it does take a long time to apply to these. Depending on the program, there are different timelines. I won't name exactly the program that I did, but I'll you can, guess and maybe make an educated, correct guess. But it did take me almost an entire year from the time I started applying to the time I actually got hired. So I started applying literally around this time of the year. So if you're watching this right now, apply now. Now's the time. Don't delay, because if you delay, then you have to wait until next year. And you're applying right now to work for next year. So it is quite a process. You do have to have a lot of patience. There's a lot of steps. So make sure you take your time and start now if this is something that you want to do. But for most assistant language teaching positions, you do need a bachelor's. At the end of the video, after I touch on these ALT programs, I will also talk about other work opportunities and other ways that you can get to Japan. Because there's not just a singular way of going there. There's many, many ways. So please check these out. All right, so the first program, let's see, there are 3 main ones. There is JET, Interac, and Altia Central. So, those are some of the main ones that you can apply. They're all ALT jobs. The thing about them is that the JET program, for example, is one of the more popular programs because they offer more benefits, better pay. So it's just one of those things to take into consideration. Besides these programs, there's also something called eikaiwa. And eikaiwa is they privately hire you to tutor people. It'll range from adults to kids. The thing about eikaiwa is usually the pay isn't very good and the hours aren't very good, but you can usually select your location. So I have a friend who is very, very smart, who she specifically wanted to work in either Tokyo or Osaka because she was going to piggyback off of this English teaching job to do her dream job, which she's actually accomplished, and I'm really proud of her. And it took her 2 years to try. So also, if you're coming to Japan, it's really good to have a plan if you're wanting to stay long term. I just wanted to go and check out Japan, to be honest, so that's why I didn't really stay for long. You can check out my prior video as to why I left. I have one listing out the reasons why I left and I'm grateful, and another one where it's vlogging, so check those out. Let's continue with these programs. So with the Altia Central, I will go ahead and link you guys here for the application link. You do need a cover and a personal introduction letter, an updated resume, recent photo, 1 or 2 references, recommendation letters, and that's kind of what you need for all of these programs, to be honest. Hold on, I need to sneeze. Hold on. Okay, I sneezed. I'm at my friend's house and she has cats and I'm like super allergic and I haven't taken my allergy meds, so if I sneeze more, I'm sorry. That's why I'm a little nasally. The other program is also Interac. Interac is also a very famous program. You need the same things. You also need your bachelor's degree. They do ask for the TEFL certificate, so you can take that online. It's basically like certificate that shows that you can teach. Certificate in language teaching for adults and a diploma in English language teaching to adults. I will also link that program here. That's another program that you can apply to. The one that currently literally just opened up their applications, because I was trying to do some research for you guys, is the JET program. The deadline is in November, but you do have to get this started as soon as possible. So the application form is they're quite thorough. It's a lot of information. You have to write a statement of purpose. You have to have 2 letters of recommendation, your college, university transcripts. And I was watching a video from somebody else that said that if you did like study abroad in a university, you also need those transcripts. So if you went to different universities, you'll need all of those transcripts. Proof of graduation if you haven't graduated yet, and proof of like your citizenship of whatever country you're in. This is, I think, like 4 US citizenships for citizens. So there's a lot that you need. And like I said, like my application process took a long time. I was very lucky that I had a very good resume, very good recommendations. I won't go exactly into like everything that I wrote, but I've worked with children before. Almost every job I've ever had. I've worked at a very famous theme park. I've worked in education before. So I had really, really good letters of recommendation from like, really highly respected people. So I knew when I was applying to this, I was like, they would be silly to not allow me into this program. So that's what I did. So I did one of these English teaching programs. There's a lot of other places that hire ALTs, a lot of private places. And like I said, there's also eikaiwas. I'm not very familiar with eikaiwas because that's not what I did. But if you research it, they're privately owned. A lot of these, I believe you have to pay out of pocket to like go to Japan and move to Japan. So it's much more expensive, because with a lot of these ALT programs, like the more famous ones that I just listed, they will do a lot of the, like they'll pay for your flight. They'll help you find accommodation unless you end up in Tokyo. So there's that. So it's give and take. It's like, do you want just the Japan experience and like more safely guarded so you can do one of these ALT programs, or do you want to just like go crazy, like you have your savings, you got some financial backup, maybe do an eikaiwa, and then these are really good ways to get your visa so you can get to Japan if you then later want to jump to something else. Burping, sorry. But then afterward, you have other options. You don't have to be an English teacher. So please, if you don't like kids, if you don't like teaching, don't do these teaching programs, because I think I was very lucky. I had 2 schools that I taught at, and I was in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, and it was very difficult. It came with a lot of challenges, but I loved every single one of my kids so much. They were so sweet and respectful. Not all the time, because they're still children. They're gonna test you. That's what kids do, But you work with them, and I'm like, you know what? We're gonna have fun in this classroom, and you guys are gonna learn. And we did, and it was great. But sometimes you're hanging out with other ALTs, and you're like, why are you here? Like, they manage to slither into these programs, and they're like, oh yeah, like I love to work with children. And then as soon as they get there, they're like wanting to just like party, and they're like, woo, I'm in Japan, yeah. And then they just talk badly about like their students and their, all day. And it's just like, why are you here? Like, there's other ways to get into Japan that's not teaching if you don't like children. I just really wanted to emphasize this because I don't think it's fair for you or for the kids that you're going to teach or for your coworkers if you just don't want to do teaching, because it is what you're going to do majority of the time. And if you end up in the countryside, you're gonna be miserable. A lot of people do leave these programs early, like they will stop their contract. So a lot of these are contract based, and in some of these, like if you finish your people that for mental health or if that's just not actually the job they wanted. Like, a lot of people will apply to these and they don't like working with children, and the kids can tell, and so they end up just like cutting their contract short and leaving. And then you're honestly just wasting a lot of time and money, and it's just really stressful. But I don't want this to like deter you. Like, it happens once in a while. It's like another country, you know, but please, like, if you've been like dreaming of going to Japan and you like working with kids and you like teaching, please apply to these programs, because there are so many opportunities, so many programs. So there is another website that you can look at called GaijinPot. So GaijinPot, for a lot of those jobs, they want you to already be living in Japan. So that's what you can look at once you're already there, like with these assistant language teaching programs. It's a pretty good way to get in the country, because a lot of these assistant language teaching programs, they do have like a contract yearly limit. Like, you can only do it for such a long time. And then they're like, okay, you're done with your contract, bye. And that's when a lot of people will be able to like move prefectures and stuff like that. But in GaijinPot, there's actually a lot of jobs for engineers. So if you're an engineer, or you have a friend who loves Japan and is an engineer, there's a lot of IT jobs, a lot of engineering jobs. You would be surprised. There's also a lot of jobs with tourism, if you speak multiple languages. Obviously it is preferred that you like know Japanese already too, because you're guiding people around, but there are many other work opportunities. I didn't get to do a lot of research on them. I am so allergic to cats. Oh, this is such a bummer. Sorry. But there are so many opportunities, and I just want you guys to look at all of those, because if you don't want to work with kids, if you don't want to do assistant language teaching like I did, please look into those. But that kind of sums up my video. I didn't really get any other specific questions for applying to Japan. I'm just coming on here and being like, applications are open for some of these programs, and application processes take about a year, because some of these programs, it'll be like, you apply, you send your resume, your letter of recommendation. Months later, they're like, okay, you moved into the next step of the interview. Here, let's do a video interview or in-person interview, depending on like where you're at. You do that interview, and then months later, they're like, okay, you got in, you are going to Japan in 2 months, and you need to really budget. I will recommend you this right now. If you are going to be applying and you are a year prior to moving to Japan, make sure that you leave here with no debt. You take care of all your taxes, especially if you're American. I'm not too sure about other countries. Take care of all your taxes. Sell as many of your belongings if you live on your own. If you're a student and you have family that can hold them in a garage, do that. I got a storage unit, and my contract was $80 a month, and I didn't know that they were going to change the contract whenever they wanted, so they bumped up from $80 a month to $110 a month to $160 a month to now $200 a month. So I'm getting paid in yen, you know, so it ended up becoming a really, really big expense, and if I went back in time, I wish I would have just sold most of my stuff and just left some boxes with some family members and friends, because it got really expensive. So make sure you take care of any debt you might have, any student loans, talk to your banks, you know, make sure you have a person here, like an anchor that you can send money to if you need to from Japan. I use the app called Wise, so that they can deposit into your bank if you have any other payments here. So just, if you apply, make sure you take care of all these things. But this is such like a side tangent, but I just think that that's something I wish I would have done. I would have felt less pressure to leave Japan, I think. But yeah, I hope this video helped you somewhat, and if you guys apply to any of these programs, tell me. If you guys have any other questions, please comment down below, and I will answer them all. This was just a quick little hop-on video so I can tell you guys, go apply now! Because even though I had struggles and it was very difficult for me adjusting, and I went through many horrible things, which is why I don't want to name specifically which exact program it is that I did, I would still do this program a million times over. I would do this experience a million times over, because the good things are just so good. If you subscribe, please look forward to, I'm going to be doing a video about Summer Sonic and what a great idea it is to go to these music events in Japan. And I'm also going to be doing a video about good tips for really having a good time as an ALT, because I took a little too long to learn some of these things that would have helped me so much. So I love you guys, have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.